Hello and welcome to Miss Hannah Loves Grammar. In this video we'll be concentrating on Stave 4 of A Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens, the stave entitled The Last of the Spirits. The last of the spirits to visit Scrooge is the ghost of Christmas yet to come. It appears to Scrooge in the form of a mute, scary, ominous creature, shrouded in black, with nothing more than an outstretched arm pointing the way to Scrooge's future. On the way, Scrooge and the ghost encounter businessmen who discuss very matter-of-factly the death of a colleague. They don't seem to care much about the loss of the man, merely that there's someone in their workplace or around them that's died. We then move location to the ugly side of town, where criminals who've organised the selling of items that they've thieved from a dead man are talking about how they've done quite well out of this man dying. They frankly are delighted. They realise they're helping everyone by taking these items out of society's care and getting a little bit of money to pocket for themselves. The ghost encourages Scrooge all the while to see the face of the dead man, but Scrooge refuses. He can't and he won't. He is terrified of both the ghost and what he is watching. We also encounter a young couple who are relieved as they know now that the dead man is someone they owe money, and they're really delighted because they don't have to repay a loan upon hearing he is dead. The ghost shows Scrooge the future, which involves Tiny Tim dying. The Cratchit family are now no longer celebrating as we saw in Stave 3. They are bereft, trying to remember Tiny Tim for his character and good qualities, but forgetting joy in their family life as they suffer the pain and agony of this loss. And equally, Scrooge sees his nephew Fred offer help wherever he can to support this grief-stricken family. Scrooge realises he must be in part responsible for what he has seen, shown to him, and demands to know who the dead man is. He then sees another man in his office, but he doesn't realise what the connection should be. He doesn't realise that makes him the dead man. It is only when Scrooge is shown a gravestone with his name on it that he deduces he is the dead man. Upon the terror, the horror and the shock of what he learns, at the end of this stave, Scrooge promises to change. This is the stave where the action happens, where the climax is reached. But how does Dickens accentuate throughout this stave what key themes and messages we should be taking away as readers? Well, the depiction of the ghost of Christmas yet to come is as scary as the future will be for Scrooge if he fails to learn and change. The ghost is mute, which is scary in its silence, and has an ominous manner as it slowly, gravely, silently approached. The adverbs here heighten the ghost's grave purpose. We're also told that this ghost is a phantom, which seems sinister. It is also shrouded in black, which signals death. And the most scary description of all for me is that this ghost left nothing of itself visible save one outstretched hand. There is so much unknown about this ghost, and there's something quite desperate about the outstretched hand. It's as if it's a reminder that Scrooge should have been helping those who had the outstretched hand, but now he sees with the pointed outstretched hand what the consequences are of not giving. It's interesting also to get the contrasting vision of what happens when someone wealthy dies in the eyes of harsh criminals. They seem to win. The way they describe the dead man accentuates his lonely death. They say plundered and bereft, unwatched, unwept, uncared for. The triple of adjectives beginning with that prefix un, highlight the neglect of that lonely dead man, but also induce us as readers to feel pity on these characters who do not know the criminal acts they are doing merely accentuate the grave problem in society. The societal problem that Dickens is presenting to us is the isolation of those who realise only upon death that they can do nothing with their wealth when they give it to no one. It's a reminder for Scrooge also that what is the point of having everything but just to yourself? Another human loss that we experience that proves a similar point is visiting the Cratchit family again, upon the news that Tiny Tim is dead. It's a grave contrast between the family we visited in Stave 3 on Christmas Day. They grieve in quiet, very quiet. This was a house full of noise. We're forced to question, has his death killed the joy and hope in the Cratchit family life? The children are no longer exuberant, but are described as still as statues. More than anything, this whole stave is building to a climactic revelation. By the end of this stave, Scrooge understands all he sees with the ghost will happen if he does not change. The tension builds as he doesn't learn this lesson as quickly as he should. It's only when he sees his name on his gravestone that he realises he is the dead man. When he states, though, by huge contrast, I hope to live to be another man from what I once was. The use of the first person accentuates his vulnerability, but also the assertion later on, I will honour Christmas in my heart. He hopes to embody generosity, helping others, and the opposite to his miserly old self. That is the transformation of this novella. And it's at that moment, towards the end of this stave, when we realise that Dickens's message is about helping others. So what should our takeaways from Stave 4 be? Scrooge faces the terrifying consequences of living in a miserly and selfish fashion. While Scrooge begins scared, he needs to be shocked completely to change. Tiny Tim's death represents innocent people suffering as a result of others' greed. And yet, as we know, the biggest epiphany is Scrooge himself deducing that he is the dead man. The most emotionally engaging element of this stave, and arguably across the whole novella, is Scrooge's desire to change the shadows at the end of the stave. This signals his genuine, unfettered desire to change and forces us as readers to question what we can do more to support society being more equal. What's amazing about the end of this stave is that we look forward to reading on to Stave 5 to see this transformation in action. Why not subscribe to Miss Hannah Loves Grammar for all things English, literary and grammatical?